Hey guys, it's Tessa. So today we are doing something I'm so excited for. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be part one of multiple.
Your tone is so happy.
I'm so excited! So pretty sure this is gonna be multiple parts, but today we're starting off with the Halibut sweater. Okay, I've been obsessed with this thing since I very first saw it. My husband's giggling at me in the corner right now, but I've been obsessed with this thing since I've seen it for the very first time. I went online, I wanted nice fancy yarn for it, so I went to Lind Hobby. That's one of the official distributors of drops, and I got drops. Basically I got Flora and Kid Silk. That's what this whole package here is. I got it in the black colorway for both of them. And I also got it in the light gray colorway for both of these. I'm also honestly already planning a Christmas version of this sweater where I use orange instead of light gray, but that's for later. That's for later. What I didn't consider, but luckily worked out fine, is Drops Flora. So this one here is a fingering weight yarn, while the pattern requires or uses a DK weight. Basically, if I put two strands of this together, I hit DK weight. But holding the mohair and the Flora together kind of only makes something called a sport weight, which is a little bit thinner than DK, but a little bit thicker than a fingering weight. But luckily, since I knit in the round kind of loosely, it works out. I made my little itty bitty gauge swatch because I'm so desperate to start this. And I did a colorwork gauge swatch just in case, because I've never really done colorwork before, like grand scheme or big scale. It seems like I'm a little bit tight on my colorwork, so I think my plan is to do the majority of the sweater using the 4mm needles, even the ribbing, because I don't care if that's slightly smaller or not. But when I get to the colorwork section, I'm going to switch to my 4.5s, I think. Just because I think that'll be a little bit more helpful for me or useful for me to compensate for that extra tightness. Speaking of which, I've already begun casting on. So, I'm so excited to do this. I think I said in one of my last videos that I was starting to work on my dream wardrobe. Big guy. This is probably the thing I'm most excited for currently. I eventually want to make my husband a version of this sweater, just so he has one and we have matching fish sweaters. And I, like I said, want to make a Halloween version. It's just going to be so exciting. But this is part one, so I think this is just going to include me getting to the color work or starting the color work a little bit. I'm hopefully only working on this project for about an hour a day is my plan, so I'm not trying to rush it. Just trying to take my time and just enjoy the process. Okay, so I've cast on the first row or so now, and we can talk a little bit. So when it comes to the fish sweater, or the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter, I did a bunch of research on it first to see what other people were saying about it and what they were feeling about it. And it sounds like many people had similar concerns or problems. And to ensure that I avoid those problems, I've taken a couple notes and I've created my little modification sheet that just has some of the things I want to modify or change or add to this project to ensure that I have the best likelihood for it. To begin with, I'm not going to use any of the 3 collar options provided. It's mock, full turtleneck, and a crew. I'm going to do a folded 2-inch high collar. And something that I'm doing as well to just make kind of cute is at the middle point of the collar, at the end of the cuffs and the end of the waistband, I'm doing the lighter gray color for that. So whatever the middle 4 rows are for the collar, I'm going to use the light gray so that when it's folded over it has that little accent there. I think it just looks really cute and it kind of ties the colors together a little bit more. For the colorwork section, I think I mentioned this, I'm going to size up by 1/2 millimeter. So I'm currently using my 4mm needles and I'm going to size up to a 4.5. My colorwork is a little bit on the tighter side, and so just to ensure that I don't shrink it by accident, I'm going to use that slightly higher needle size. A big problem I was seeing as well that a lot of people were saying was that the decreases for the sleeve are too fast. It's like every 4 rows or something like that. I prefer my sleeves typically to have a little bit of shaping, or a lot of bit of shaping, and to be pretty like close to the arm. I think that's just a me thing. So instead of every 4, I'm gonna do every 6 or every 8 rows just to kind of see how that looks. I'm probably gonna put a lifeline in to make sure that I can easily frog back and have no problems. Especially since I'm using this mohair combo, it's a little bit hard to frog. The other thing I'm going to double check is the sleeve length as I go. I don't usually pay attention to this. Typically when I'm knitting or crocheting sweaters or long sleeve items, I just typically make the sleeves the same length as I make the body. However, again, because this is mohair, or a mohair mix and a wool, I'm really worried about it overstretching when I block it. I won't mind too much if it's really like the sleeves are really long. I won't mind that necessarily, but just to make sure, I'm gonna kind of check it as I do it, just in case. My biggest thing that I'm worried about here for this project isn't even the color work, it's the short rows. I've done short rows one other time. You'll see that video like pinned here. It's the sweater I made semi-recently, and I'm pretty sure I did those short rows wrong. So hopefully this time I won't have any real problems or issues. I'm again gonna stick a lifeline in place just in case I do have to redo the short rows a bunch of times. I can just frog back to the lifeline and not have to worry too much about catching my stitches or them having issues or whatever. I'm also, I don't know if this is smart or not, but this is my plan. I also plan to stay on the smallest cable size as I can at each section. I know it makes it a little bit easier when you're doing color work sometimes to have it on the smaller needles or smaller cables because it kind of helps with the spacing of the secondary thread. I also heard some people say it's just kind of easier to get through like big sections of stockinette for like the rest of the body. Helps to keep them on the smaller cables because it's a little bit easier to just kind of move the stitches along. And then something as well, just to make sure my color work doesn't get confusing or anything, once I'm at the color work, I'm gonna have a stitch marker at the start of each section of the repeat. So I think because I'm doing the largest size, that'll give me 17 halibuts on my piece, I think. And if that's the case, there's just gonna be one stitch marker between each fish. It's just gonna make it a little bit easier for me to know like when the pattern repeats versus kind of trying to keep track of what's the middle set of numbers now all together, or if there's an increased row. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. That is my current list of modifications I'm making, but I'm beyond excited to do this project. I bought a total of 24 balls of yarn because I'm holding double. I could have gotten away with only buying 12, but I wanted to hold double. I've never used mohair before, so I wanted to this time. But yeah, I'm really excited for this project. I cannot wait to have a fish sweater. It is my true dream now in this world to own a fish sweater. And like I said, I think I'm only going to work on this project for an hour or so a night. So my main plan with that is just to kind of keep myself going. I don't need to rush this project. I feel like a lot of the time I rush it. I'm not giving myself a deadline, except for I'd like this done by my birthday. It's supposed to be my birthday gift to myself. And I think the way to ensure that happens is just working on it an hour or 2 every night. See, I've already changed my number there. I said it was only going to be for an hour, and now I'm saying an hour or 2. But that is my current plan. I would love to know what you guys think about this sweater, or if you have any tips for it or feedback for it. I would love to know it because I ideally want to go into this fully prepared. I will check in once I have the ribbing done, hopefully. Or if I've done the short rows. I don't know. I'm supposed to go to a little meetup tonight. I don't know how far I'll get through this, but I will check in after that. My hair looks a little insane, just kind of ignore it. But I'm night 1 into this project. I got through the folded collar and did the accent of the gray on top. I am loving this project so far, honestly. I was really scared to start with this mohair, but I'm really liking it. I've also taken my swatch and let it fully dry. I mostly dried it with my hair dryer earlier because I was impatient and wanted to get this started. I don't mind the way it feels against my skin, like the colorwork side or the float side or the right side. I don't mind the way either side feels, which is good. It means I hopefully won't have any problems with the wool. I don't think my husband would like this texture though. I think I'd have to do like a full mohair or something for him, because wool or anything that has like a rougher texture in general, I've noticed irritates him a bit, or irritates his skin a bit. So I think my plan for him is either to go full mohair and absolutely hate my life, or yarn he doesn't mind so much. Like, I think my new goal might just be making him a ton of mittens before I make his version of this sweater, or any sweater for him really. Just making a couple different versions of mittens using different yarns and seeing which one he hates the least, and going from there. I'm still on my first ball of the Flora and the first ball of the Kid Silk. I bought 9 of each of the black shades, and I bought 3 of each of the gray shades. I basically bought 1 extra skein to compensate the yardage than needed, so 8 of them I think compensated the highest yardage. I bought 9 just in case. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be able to get to the color work even before I need to switch to a new ball of black yarn. But regardless, tonight I am stopping at the folded collar. I got a Russian. I'm trying not to overwhelm myself with this project so that I don't want to do it. But folded collar done. That's where we're stopping. I got a little bit farther on the fish sweater last night. I got through the first increase row, as well as starting the short rows. I think my goal for today is just to get through the short rows. And I don't need to start the color work today. I might, but I don't need to. And then my goal is to then, from there, only do 5 rows of color work at a time. That way I'm not like over expecting myself to work on something and not get it done. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish these short rows soon, or now, and then hopefully continue. So I got through the short rows of my project here. So you'll see here at the front, there's only about a ½ an inch, probably to an inch of space. But on the back here, you see we probably have about 2½ inches here. I was really worried about the short rows, especially using this black yarn, but I think I did pretty good. My next steps here are to do 1 more row of knitting, and then I have an increase row to do. And then I think I move on to the actual fish part. No, I have the increase and then 3 more rounds of knitting and then the fish part of the sweater, which is really exciting. My goal today is just to get to the color work, and then from there I can kind of decide what I want to do. But yeah, so exciting. All right, so I've made some more progress on the Halibut sweater. I'm so excited. I'm 2 rows into the color work. I think this is where I'm gonna end this video though, because my clips are already like 20 minutes long, and I don't want you to sit here for like an hour and a half or something. So that's where we're gonna end this video for the Halibut sweater. I'm gonna continue working on it in the meantime. I think my next goal for it for you guys is gonna be finishing the color work, or getting like halfway through it. I don't really know. I was like, are you laughing at me talking about the fish sweater again?
Hey, honey.
I'll look at it in a second.
Will you be my egg for Easter?
Yes. I don't understand. I'll look at it in a minute. Hold on. So I'm hoping to get through, I think, all of the color work the next time we finish up at the next part of this video. The color work section is the next part of the video, or the next video is part 2 of this video series. I cannot speak English. Finishing the color work of the Halibut sweater is going to be, I think, the rest of part 2, and then part 3 will probably be finishing up the body and the sleeves, and then kind of reviewing the pattern and any information I have on it. So it was really fun to share this with you guys. This is probably one of the most excited I've been for a project in a very long time. So I'm really happy to share it with you guys. I'm happy my husband's gonna giggle at me constantly because of it, since I've been talking about this sweater for like a month straight, pretty much non-stop. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you have any tips on the sweater, let me know, and I will happily accept them and make any additional modifications that are needed. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye!